Hey, bestie.
What's up, girl?
Hey, does anyone ever ask you, like, oh, I heard you do a podcast. What's that witty and gritty podcast all about?
Yeah, okay, so I usually spit out this robotic sentence that's, we help hardworking Christian women get the growth they want by giving them the tools they need in order to have more joyful and fulfilling lives. So that's usually what I say, but I'm also monotone. Y'all know this. And so it's just like, wah, wah, wah. So Farron, what does that mean?
Yes, well, my response is not as fancy, even though I've heard you say that. Lots of times I should know by now. But essentially, I explain that we help people grow in their Christian lives, and through their growth, then they can better fulfill God's calling on their life.
Right, so we're book study experts, and we know how to analyze, pull apart, and take that through the Christian lens, and that's kind of what we do here.
And so then sometimes people are like, yeah, you're self-help books, and they might be mainstream, but we are always sure to bring it back to God and the biblical view.
Right, so whether you see a secular book or something that a Christian author's written, just know that when you come here, you're going to get it through a biblical lens.
And not just ours. I like that we incorporate interviews by people living out the principles.
Yeah, that's for sure.
So that's your little bonus if you stick around through the series, which we hope you will.
Yay! Here we go! This is episode 169 of the Witty and Gritty podcast. We are in our mini-series all about how to win friends and influence people in the digital age. And today I get to interview my club soccer coach from back in the day, Lonnie Pollard. Hello, thanks for joining us today. So just tell us a little bit about you, your family, that kind of stuff. What you do, any of that.
I'm 54 years old, and I got a wife, Debbie. We've been married for 25 years. Mm-hmm. October 6, 96. I kind of did the math in my head. So, and I have two kids. Jacob, he's 23. He's a welder. And my daughter, who is 20, she is a junior at Tech. I'm your average, pretty much average guy. I like to golf, fish, hunt.
And do home projects for the wife.
And do home projects. Yeah, I've been busy on those this summer.
I love it.
I've been in project management and account management and territory management for two large corporations in the past. But for the past 12 years, I actually was teaching and coaching several different districts, just building programs and coaching soccer and helping kids. Now I've taken another step. I'm going into the home building industry.
The cool part about our mini series is we're talking about how everyone has some sort of influence over somebody. So whether you're a parent and your kids, or you're the boss and you have coworkers or subordinates, however that works. So it sounds like you've been in multiple roles doing multiple things, and you're having to get everybody on the same page or everybody on board. And that's not always easy, especially if it's like 30 high school girls who all like the same guy or whatever's going on. So And Farron and I both have coaching experience. She has coached and taught younger, and I've coached and taught older. So it's cool that you've done both, because you coached me when I was how old? All the way up through high school.
High school, yeah. You're six years old?
Yeah, all the way. Yeah. So you've seen it all.
Yeah.
And just watching players grow, it's cool because you've gotten the opportunity to see little kids become adults who also have their own kids and starting their own lives. So you full circle, which is really neat. So we've heard that about your coaching experience, and you have the specific skill set of flipping programs, whether that's with home stuff or corporate stuff or soccer stuff. You're able to take what is currently there and flip it to either streamline it or make it better in certain ways, because you have been a successful coach. I'm a success story, so I can attest to it. So
it's good to see that.
If you are giving advice to someone who is the leader or stepping into that role, because we do have a lot of people who transition statuses during the summer, what would you say to them on how to mentally prepare themselves for getting everybody on the right ship?
Number one, you have to have, I believe you have to have strong convictions and in doing what is right, not just for the program, but for the child, no matter how hard the decisions you make. And you have to stick by those convictions through all the adversity, which, as a coach, you've coached. There's a lot of adversity that comes with it. You have to be you have to have the personality that you're going to be alone a lot of times. You're going to have to be able to handle, again, adversity, because not everyone out there has a good agenda for you. I've been called names, shouted at for not giving an award that someone thought they deserved. I've been called some profane names at banquets by parents that have done things like that. And it's a tough, but you have to stick by your convictions and be strong in them and be able to understand that you're not there to make friends. Although I've made some great friends over the years, with parents and with kids, and the kids growing up. But just standing by those convictions and understanding that it's a lonely position being the leader, because, and if you're not prepared for that, I assume it can be difficult if that's not your personality. You have to be able to not allow negativity to creep in and affect your decisions. You have to be able to take some of the frustrations that the kids may have and try to turn into a positive, but also be able to take any kind of frustrations and overlook those for the better of the team, unless they're very severe. And then you have to look at the person themselves, say, this is a life lesson that they're going to take and understand the rest of their lives, no matter how hard it is, because the last thing I want to do is hurt or cut kids for being so negative that it can affect the credibility. As a leadership, you have to have leadership role. You have to keep your credibility moving forward, and some decisions, especially currently, the last 10 years, things have changed so much as far as, I guess you could say, entitlement and things like that. I've personally noticed it. They're not as quick to jump on board and follow your program expectations. And when they don't, and you do make a hard decision, like you sit a player for 2 games or even cut a player, it can be very, very, very negative coming off both from the parents and the children. So, and you have to stick to those convictions no matter, what kind of support you have from your administration. It's just something that, as far as leaders go, you have to be able to stick to your convictions, make good decisions. What is right? That's the main thing. What you feel is right by the book, by God's commandments, all that coming in. What's going to make that person better as they move forward in life? Period. That's the bottom line. And sometimes it can affect the team. But if you're helping that player understand, or that person, that kid understand that being right, doing what is right is better than yourself, is bigger than yourself. That was my main goal. And it's worked out pretty well.
I agree. Yeah. Well, especially you can sleep at night knowing that you have stuck to your own, through the Christian lens. This is a Christian podcast.
Right.
As a leader or a boss, if you are a Christian, you should be upholding that moral code. And whenever there's that disconnect, you've got to fill in the gap. Like, hey, this is why, here's the big picture. Here are our core values. And if you're in a space where you can't necessarily say, Jesus says this, just change the verbiage a little bit.
Right.
Do your best effort. That is following along with everything. Do it to the Lord. Do it like the Lord. So just tweak it a little, and that's do your best. Okay, we got it. So there are ways and loopholes around it if you are feeling like you're stuck. And you mentioned that leadership can be a lonely role, because it is. And it's hard to either vent down or make friends down, like your downline or whoever that is, whether it's like a subordinate in whatever position it is, or a parent, like an adjacent lower, not lower, just so minding those circles. Like I'm sure you bonded with other head coaches where y'all all were able to be in the same circle, troubleshoot things, peer mediate when needed. Finding those people and making sure it helps when y'all's moral compass is aligned as well. So that's good. So each season looks differently. You experience like school years or soccer seasons, just like everyone experiences their busy season, or like if you're in the carpet industry, like summer's going to be busy. That's just what it is. So how do you get your team to buy into what you're trying to do during those specific seasons? Like if you know it's crunch time, or we're ending the fiscal year, or we're going to start the new quarter, what would you try to do to get your team to get on board or buy in? So if you're teaching or coaching, that could look like, hey, we're about to start district. That's different than preseason, or we're about to go into playoffs, which is different than regular district. So what kind of things are you trying to say or do or teach in those transition moments where it gets a little more intense?
Well, evaluation of what was in the beginning to where we are now and what we've worked on all year. Hopefully we try to cover those things throughout the year. But if there's specifics, obviously you want to say you're working on a 4-man diamond defense or whatever it is. You really want to focus in on those specifics and know your competition. You've always got to know your competition. When you're in sales, you go do competitive shops at your customers' places, or talk about see what your competitors are doing. Game, you watch film. I didn't always rely on film, because I always relied on, you can watch film all day long as far as I'm concerned, especially with soccer. It's not like football or basketball. You can pick out the key things and the key players and kind of see their habits on the field. So we would watch a little bit of film. We wouldn't sit and watch a whole game, because we just don't. I think being on the field, working with each other, is better. But getting back to your point, is you focus on those specific things, you write them down. This is what we're working on, and you key in on those drills and practice sessions and training sessions on those specific things. And obviously depending on the talent you have, can throw a big loop into that. So that's what I look at, is evaluating, obviously during the preseason. Obviously during district, you pick up on key things. You tell them what's going on, what you're doing right. This is what we're doing wrong. We need to be stronger here. You may have to move some players around who have better strengths. Like we need to go left on this guy. I'm going to put in a left foot, or whatever it may be. You got to sit and think and key in on those specifics, and you just go from there. Work on those specific things and tell the kids, this is what I need you to do. I need you to do this. If we're going to have a chance to score on this team or beat this guy or stop this guy, this is what you need to do. Now, buying in, either sometimes they do or they don't. But, if one or two players or whoever doesn't buy in, obviously you make that decision. Say, well, I'm going to switch him out, because switch her out, they're not getting it done, or not willing to get it done, or they're not listening. They're not coachable. So a lot of that so much comes into play on that to get kids to buy in. I guess you could call it. Some buy in quick, some buy in not so quick.
You're looking at the whole person too. You're not just looking at wins and losses. You're looking at, can I teach them the skill set of compete? Because they're going to need that in 10 years when they're a sales rep and their sales manager needs them to be coachable and compete. And have a strategy. I like how you talked about earlier, you mentioned writing down what you needed them to do and being specific and being direct. Like, I need you to exactly what I need you to do. And some people, I think, as leaders can just, they should know, they should already know, but they might not know. So let's talk about how you do that goal setting process. So you mentioned you have a plan. You don't just, hey, let's go try to sell some stuff or go try to market over here or go try to win this game. It's, we're being specific. We're not just going to take a guess. This isn't winging it. This is life. So we can't just really wing everything. So what's your process or blueprint of goal setting and expectations? So, and that could mean even for your own children, or so you could talk as a parent role, as a corporate guy, or as a teacher, coach role. So how do you go about generally with goal setting processes, and how do you set clear expectations and get them to remember and work at it every day?
Right. Well, goal setting, I typically have my kids, I have them tell them about goals, talk about goal setting, how it's important to set goals. And, number one, they have to be realistic. Let's say, Brooke, I want you to set a goal. I want to be able to dunk the basketball, when I'm 13.
5'3".
Okay, you're 5'3". Okay, let's be realistic. You don't want to shut them down, but, you got to have them set realistic goals. So I have them do for that year 3 personal goals, whether it be academic, whatever. Academics is a huge part of my coaching forte as well. But having that do 3 personal goals and three athletic goals, and so your athletic goals don't have to be, you want to have your shot at 75 miles per hour at the end of the season, whatever. It's like, I ran a 5.6 40 at the beginning of the year. I want to run a 5.3. That's a realistic goal. How are you going to get there? You got to study how sprinters, you want to get faster, go study how sprinters work out. You have to have them, think about your goals. Let's set them go. Let's write them down. Okay. You wrote your goals down. You're going to put them on your mirror every day or somewhere you can see them every day when you wake up, and you're going to remember those goals. You're going to look at them because, you write goals down and put them in a drawer. You're not looking at them. You're not seeing them. So write those goals down, put them where you can see them every day. Then you break it down into, well, how am I going to reach this goal? Well, obviously, if you don't know what you're doing, what do? You go talk to people that know what they're doing. Or in that specific goal set, you have to talk to people who have that experience. Okay, just like a sprinter. If I want to get faster, I need to talk to a sprinter. Go talk to the track coach. What kind of workouts do I need to be doing to get faster? Things like that. Because I'm not really a speed coach. I'm more of a team coach. I'm not particularly. I know a few skills, but
not your specialty.
It's not skills coach is not my specialty. It's team strategy. But to reach those personal goals, you have to write them down. Okay, once they write them down, we have a meeting. And I'm like, well, how are all these your personal goals? We talk about those. Your athletic goals now coming towards the team. How are all these going to combine to help us be a better team? And then I have them write down 3 goals they want for the team.
Other than self. And
then we get all this together and we combine those and we look at all these goals. We kind of put them in the same categories, because a lot of kids have the same goal. We want to win district, want to make play, Okay. So we put those together. We write them down. And then as a team, we say, let's pick the 3 most realistic goals we can to improve, because that's what we're looking at is improving the program. It doesn't happen overnight, although, not overnight, but, some programs I went into was very successful in, within 1 year, getting those teams winning and making playoffs but it depends on the culture. And once you get that culture to understand it's not just going to happen when I step on the field. I'm just going to go out there and play. It's going to happen. You have to have goals. You have to follow those goals. Have to follow that path towards that goal, and eventually it'll get there.
Importance of writing goals, and I like that you brought the whole team into it too. It wasn't just like you as the leader saying, "We're doing this, this, this."
Right.
That does not help with buy-in. So you actually took their feedback and you listen to the feedback, which nobody likes it when a boss is like, fill out this survey and then does nothing with it. So if you're a leader, you're in a leadership role, you know that you're going to have people right under you that have got your back and that are going to go on mission for the same thing you're doing. So for soccer, that could look like captains, or for business world, that could look like your number one sales guy or the guy who's bringing in the most, or it might be the person who's like the glue of the team. If you can get those people to buy in and on board and be a leader, then that helps trickle down effect. So
right.
So once we've talked a little bit about leading leaders, but how do you train them? Is there anything specific or main points you want to really drive home with those people? Is it back to the whole goal, or is it just like reinforcing what you're saying, or how does that look?
Well, I just express, obviously I meet with my assistant coaches, and we just express what we're looking to do, how the program runs, the expectations, and I've had those for forever, and I take those everywhere I go. I don't have them here in front of me, but the expectations, and I give them a list. These are just my expectations for an assistant coach, or my expectations for a team captain. And you sit down, and you talk to them about it, and with assistant coaches, you expect them to be professional. So I tell them, look, there's going to be days where I have to go meet with my AD, or there's going to be days where I got behind on planning, and I need you to have a backup plan, or I'm going to need you to cover, just those expectations, and helping them understand that, even as a leader or a head coach, things happen, and either I'm not going to be there, or something comes up where it's supposed to be there. Here's my practice plan. If you want to do something else close to this, do that. Because, in coaching, everything changes. Things can change on a weekly basis with facilities usage and whatever it may be. But you just got to sit them down and tell them, we're a team here. As long as you're, meeting these expectations, doing your best, it's going to work out fine. Some of my clinics I took, a lot of the instructors, some of the best advice I got is learning from other coaches. No matter how experienced or inexperienced, they're always going to have something that you haven't covered, or they're always going to have an idea that you haven't seen. So that's what I like to do. I like to give my assistants a little more leeway in the coaching and learn from them, maybe tweak something they aren't doing that I feel they should be doing, or pick up on something. When you do pick up on something good, and they're doing something really good that you feel is good for the team, it's always about, giving credit, praise, hey, good job. I stand in front of your team and say, what do y'all think about what I did today? It's like, this is Brooks' idea. Did y'all like that? Because if you do, we're going to use it some more. I wrote, And when they buy in, as far as they see the head coach trusting that person and they're on the same page, then they're like, well, we better get on the same page too.
Yeah.
Now, team captains, kids, it's a lot different, obviously you want a player that's there and competitive. Number one, they go out and they bring it to practice every day, and they show up every day, and they have strong convictions as well. Either choosing the captain yourself, or allowing kids to do it, which is what I like to do, because kids are gonna follow that natural leader. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. They're competitive, they're outspoken, they're almost, but the thing that kids don't have is that realization that, when you're team captain, you're you're kind of the coach's right-hand man.
Yeah.
And there's going to be some times where you're going to be lonely. It's a leadership position. Are you prepared for this? Because if you're not, it can be very tough. It can be very, and it's happened before. I picked a captain that I thought would do well, and they just wanted to compete. They wanted to compete. They didn't have that leadership personality to speak up when they needed to speak up on the team if they're not playing well or whatever. So again, expectations for captains, kind of the expectations for the assistant coaches. You've got to follow our lead. Mm-hmm. And once they know they're on board, and you have to be a liaison, with what's going on with the team to the head coach, or what are you hearing? There's things we have to know that's going on within the team, because
right.
You've coached. It's easy to see when there's some kind of drama going on and things aren't going well. Something's happening. Something's happening in the locker room that we need to know about. Somebody's talking about something, whatever it is. So we try to face those issues there. But yeah, it's just laying out those expectations and giving them that leeway, because the leadership role is about building other leaders and building other people up. And if you're always saying, well, you do this, 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 and this is what you got to do, they're just going to be followers.
Yeah.
The rest of their lives. Mm-hmm. They're not going to take that initiative to step into a position and, be an advocate for themselves. Not just on the team, but in life. It's like, leadership is part of leadership is, I feel part of leadership is when you feel something isn't working or you feel something could be better, part of that leadership is going to your leader and saying, look, this isn't working. This is what I need. Blah, blah, whatever it may be. And a lot of kids don't advocate for themselves. They'll shove it down.
Yeah.
And they'll hold it in for, however long until, it explodes.
On game day.
Having that open door policy and saying, look, if there's something wrong, you need to come talk to me, whatever it is, and I'll listen and we'll work it out, get it off your chest, find some solutions. And that's part of being a leader as well. You have to be open to talk to everybody about everything, no matter what it is. So.
Okay, we've talked about how adversity is going to come, no matter what. It's coming for everybody on this side of heaven, right? So, and you've talked about leadership is lonely, all that sort of stuff. So, what do you do when adversity comes? Like, what do you do personally as the leader, and then how do you help your team overcome as well?
I'm trying to think of an example. Obviously, the best example I could think of recently was losing those 3 players, because it was a big hit, not only on the team, it was a big hit on me, because we were growing numbers, our program was growing in the right direction. And I was looking forward to a really, we may not have made the playoffs, but we're going to win more games. We're going to be better. When that hits, you're like, as a head coach, and it's like, you got to be realistic about your team. And when that adversity hits, sometimes you just have to accept that you can't change what is happening. You have to accept it. You have to be able to take it on. This is going to be bad this year, but you can't push that out to the team in a negative manner. You have to be honest with them, be upfront with them, in the most positive aspect you can. And I guess what I did is we're going to pull some players up from JV, and we're going to work through this season as best we can. What are some other goals we can set? Well, let's instead of winning games, let's break. I think one of them was, we had this many goal scorers on last year. Let's work on our defense, because now our offense is going to struggle. We have to really work on defense. Let's stop the bleeding getting goals scored against us. Let's lower our goals against average. And we did that. That was a goal that they hit. But when you get into those losing games and you're losing, and it really starts affecting the emotions, and the morale. You as a leader, you just have to step up and say, "Look, I love you girls. I love you kids. We're going to keep playing. Win or lose, we're going to keep playing." I cried with them. I mean, because it was just seeing them be so defeated. That was like the 6th or 7th game in district, and they were just defeated, crying. But letting them know that you're on that same page and you're feeling the same way, after that little breakdown, after that game, things were back to normal. Then, came back in and say, "Look, we're all feeling it, but we're together. Okay. So we're going to just press on. We're going to fight, and we're going to keep competing and not give up. And you're going to feel better about fighting all the way through instead of giving up and accepting loss."
Yeah. Well, and everything you just quoted, like press on, fight, keep competing, never give up. Those are all verses in the Bible. So if you're just okay, guys, Philippians 3:14 is press on towards the goal, but you don't have to be like, it's in the Bible. But all of the advice you're giving, it works even if you're not a Jesus fan. Like you're still going to press on. We're still going to do hard things. And the point is we're not going to give up because this is what we are here to do. We're not going to just quit. We're not just going to give up. We're going to work through the hard stuff because later on we can reflect and see how far we've come. Yeah.
And then, like you said, later on, I try to tell my kids, look, this may seem like the most important thing in your life right now, which it probably is, at that moment.
Right.
And it goes into the whole gamut of athletics, the awards and things like that. I mean, it's great at that time. I mean, you'd been over to my house when we were playing club, when we had our team dinners, and saw all the trophies that I had in my office. I just have hundreds. And, I got awards too. And I haven't looked at them in I don't know how long, because the best thing about coaching and playing is building those memories and going through that adversity with other people who are on your side and looking back and say, you know what? Was it really that big a deal?
Right.
You know how competitive I am. I love to win.
Oh yeah.
But it's taken me a long time to realize now at 54, it's like, man, I was pretty hard on some kids, but y'all turned out all right.
Yeah.
I don't think y'all turned out really good. I don't think I was overly tough on y'all, but obviously as a head coach, you're going to say some things that you may have some regrets on later on, maybe too hard, just because I was so competitive. Not that I don't still love to win, but a lot of I guess your college and pro, whatever your job depends on winning,
right.
And things have changed so much that just in the last 10 years, which athletics, I don't see kids near as competitive as they used to be. They want to go out and have fun, and that's what I try to do, is make it as fun as possible while still trying to build that competitive nature. So you still have to coach. You still have to be tough on them and make tough decisions. But altogether, it's facing that adversity together and looking back, like you said, later on, why you look back. So I made it through that. We made it through a horrible season, but man, we had fun.
Yeah.
So
that's good. I like how you're using we language too. Like we're in it. It is what it is. And the power of reflection. We can look back and see these are still wins. We can find all the little wins along the way.
Right.
Okay, so to wrap up the interview, is there anything that we didn't tee you up for that you wanted to say, or a point that you really wanted to drive home? If you're giving advice to someone who is the leader, is there any last comment you want to say to them specifically?
Just enjoy the time you have with those kids or with your team. Enjoy the time, because it's something you can't get back. Don't make it a life or death situation, because there's always tomorrow to make things better. I guess on the work side of life, yes, do your job to the best of your ability. Control the things you can, because there's so many things you can't control. And tomorrow's another day, and good things will happen if you keep at it and perseverance. And on the coaching side or the playing side, just set those goals. Be disciplined in what you want. Do what makes you happy. Okay. In a team environment, though, you can't do it all for yourself. You have to do it for the team. You have to do it for the team, whether it's sitting on the bench, encouraging players, making jokes with your team, keeping everybody, that's part of a team process. Everybody plays a role. So just try to make every day the best it can be. Try to be positive, because negativity in the end it's not good. It's not good. It's just try to make every day the best it can be and live your best life.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Lonnie, for coming on the show. And we are so thankful, and lots of good advice. Everyone needs to listen to this at least 3 times to soak it all in, because there were so many good points to remember.
Thanks, Brooke.
So we're really good at segues.
And sound effects, right?
Yes, so that's the end of our episode. But if you find yourself wanting more, and who could blame you, Brooke, tell them where they can find us Monday through Friday.
We have a lovely website. It's wittyandgritty.blog. You can go there. It has every mini-series ever we've done. What about the socials, Farron?
Yes, we are on Instagram and Facebook primarily, but we do also have a Pinterest account, so be sure to follow us on your favorite social platform.
Yeah. Oh, also fun fact, we release episodes every Wednesday, so you can count on us.
Be sure to subscribe, that way you don't have to go and find it every week.
Yeah, it'll just automatically do the magic computery thingy.
Thank you, technology.
Go
Thank you.
technologies and Instagrams.
Yes. All right, we'll catch you next week, guys. Bye.
This episode is brought to you by the Witty and Gritty 5-Minute Mini Journal. It's centered around Ephesians 6:10-18, known as the Armor of God. Once you download this freebie, over the next 7 days, take a few minutes each day and dive into what the armor of God is and why it's important to Christians in their daily walk. You can find this at wittyandgritty.blog. We'll link it in the show notes.